Every day we see commercial and military aircraft fly around the world. And if you've ever been to an air show, you may have seen a propeller-driven aerobatic stunt plane perform. The plane rises up and then falls over on its side in a dramatic hammerhead maneuver. Planes can do amazing things. So have you ever asked yourself, could I fly into space with a jet airplane? Well, could you? The answer is no. There are two very specific things that prevent you from doing this. One is the lack of oxygen in space, and two is the speed of acceleration for the force of gravity. And cut. In terms of the oxygen, space is essentially a vacuum. And in terms of gravity, you need to be traveling very fast to reach what's called escape velocity. Now, in this simple example, we're talking about trying to achieve orbit by flying into space. It is true that modern jetliners fly very high up, but not into space. In fact, nowhere near space. A modern jet flies at about 10,671 meters, or 35,000 feet. At that altitude, there's actually much less oxygen than there is at sea level, and it's cold, about minus 55 degrees C, or minus 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Kind of like Toronto in the winter. And the air pressure is less than 1/4 of that at sea level. So the airplane must have a pressurization and heating system to ensure the comfort and physical safety of the passengers. Expose yourself to this low temperature and low air pressure for only a few seconds, and you would suffer hypoxia, which is a deficiency in the amount of oxygen reaching the tissues, and hypothermia, a medical emergency that occurs when your body loses heat faster than it can produce it, causing a dangerously low body temperature. Also, there's some controversy over whether your blood would boil as well. You see, the higher the altitude, the lower the temperature at which water boils, and at airplane altitudes, that's roughly body temperature. And your body is mostly water, so the argument against this is that the very shape of your blood vessels being round would prevent this from occurring. Anyway, airplanes have life support systems to prevent these extremes. Now you may say, Jay, you said that one of the reasons you couldn't fly a plane into space is lack of oxygen. But then you said that planes fly where there is very little oxygen, so what gives? Well, no oxygen is bad, but there is enough oxygen at altitudes planes fly at to provide oxygen for the engines. Remember, the plane flies very fast, so air is rammed into the engine and also brought into it by fan blades at the front of the engine. Fuel is mixed with the oxygen, compressed, and then ignited to produce thrust, and in more modern airliners to turn a large fan at the front of the engine. Also, flying at this altitude reduces fuel consumption as there is less drag. It's a smoother ride up there, and you're well above the weather. Well, rockets do it, you say. Yes, but rockets provide their own oxygen, either mixed into the fuel or stored separately in huge containers, and rockets fly much faster than planes. So what if you had the pilots in spacesuits and carried your own oxygen? Still no go, because you would not get anywhere near escape velocity. You see, we're talking about space. Airplanes fly regularly at 11.3 kilometers or 7 miles, but space is much farther away. There is no actual defining edge of space, but space is reached at an altitude of about 100 kilometers or 62 miles, nearly 10 times higher than planes fly. And the other main reason is that you need to travel at escape velocity. A jet flies at about 969 kilometers per hour or 600 miles per hour. But to reach escape velocity and achieve orbit, you would have to be going 40,270 kilometers an hour, or 25,020 miles per hour. That's 42 times faster than planes normally fly. And that's because of the acceleration of gravity being 9.8 meters per second, or 32 feet per second. Now it's referred to as per second because the speed doubles every second, and that's fast. And so far only rockets have achieved such a fast speed. So basically, that's why you cannot fly an airplane into space. These commercial space flights you've been hearing about will use airplanes that get the main vehicle to about 15,244 meters or 50,000 feet. Then a rocket booster propels you in a separate vehicle up into near space. But orbital velocity is never reached, so the vehicle falls gently back to Earth. Quite a view, though. So that's it. Thanks for watching.